Well, it's been 2 days and I still haven't heard back from Ivanka. It's actually not so bad to be a bellboy. I've made hundreds of bucks in tips. Wait, what's that? Looks like a passport. What a hot babe. She looks awfully familiar though. What's her name here? Karina of the Russian Federation. I better get this back to her. I'll just look her up on the hotel computer. Let's see here. Karina Yakina. There she is. Room 2017. Well, there's the room. I'll just knock. Maybe she'll give me a big tip. Hello, ma'am. I think you dropped your passport. Are you Karina?
Why, yes. Thank you so much. I was so worried.
Excuse me. Haven't we met before? You look awfully familiar.
I was about to say the same thing about you. It's that beard.
Women do find my beard sexy.
Please come in. May I take your hat?
No thanks.
Would you like a drink?
Well, okay. I'll take 3 fingers of whiskey, please.
So how long have you been a bellboy?
Well, it's been about 2 days.
What did you do before that?
Well, for one thing, I ran for president.
Oh my God! It's you, Dickel Pocket!
You know me?
Yes. Remember me?
Well,
Look.
Oh my God! You're the blonde tongue girl! Wow!
I'd like to welcome everybody to part 2 of this Filco 89 series.
Yeah.
Now previously, I had this listed as a 1933 radio. It's actually a 1935 model made in 1934. And this particular model was called the Radio from Hell because from what I've been reading, about 9 out of 10 of these Philco 89s had a bad oscillator coil, which is right here.
I don't believe it.
But mine seems to have survived, although maybe mine was rewound, I don't know.
Who knows?
But the one thing I noticed on this is these .01s here have been added, so the documentation on here is not what it should be. Of course, that was a ongoing problem with Philco. But let me just show you what I found on my radio. Now, whether somebody got in here and rewired it, you know, nobody knows. But let's just start off with the Bakelite block here. According to the parts list, and this was the only one that was printed, because on their schematics they go by the part numbers on this sheet here. And I will be showing you the schematic as I point things out to make it clearer for you. This can really get boring, and I don't want to bore anybody, but I just thought I'd document the change that I found on this radio. Okay, now you see the location of Bakelite block 5. Now there are 2 09s in this block.
2 can be as bad as 1.
And this is the ground, so you got 1 here and 1 here. Now on my radio, one of the 09s is going directly to the antenna coil here, and the other one comes around here to the junction of the 99K and the 1 meg resistor. Now on the schematic, that's listed as 7D, and it's a 0.5 microfarad. But since I have an 09 going to there, that I believe that is wrong. Now this can is number 7, and there's 5 wires coming out of it, and there's 5 caps in here. They got these labeled as 7A, B, C, D, E.
You suck more than I do.
So here's my wires here. 7A, B, C, D, and E. And this can also has 2.09s on here. which are 7A and 7B. Well, my 09s are going to pin 3 of the RF tube, and the other is going to pin 4 of the RF tube, in complete opposite of what's on the schematic, where they list number 5 should be going down here. Now this little flexible resistor here is going from pin 4 to ground. It's supposed to have a 0.09 in parallel with it, which it is, but it's not in parallel from this, it's in parallel from this can one here. Also, I noticed in this can here, there's an 05, 7D. They were calling 7D, which is an 05, is actually the 09 from here. Are you totally confused yet?
Yes.
So the 7D is now doesn't have any place on the schematic, but I drew it in here. Let me show you. This goes into parallel with number 8.
You don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
This is Bakelite block number 8, and this has a 0.09 and a 700 picofarad cap in here. Also, this resistor on the side here is a 15K, which later they changed to a 10 to improve the oscillation. So whether these part numbers really matter, I mean, if you're going by the parts list here and then you're trying to locate everything by the number, then you're going to get mixed up pretty easy. So if you just change a few of the numbers, then everything is cool. Since the documentation on these already is pretty bad, why add to the confusion? Which is why I brought this up. If there's anybody out there still awake, I'm just amazed. Anyway, I just wanted to show that. Take it for what it is. That's the way mine's wired. Anybody else have one of these? Check yours. Check that Bakelite block number 5 and the can number 7 and see if those wires are switched. Well, it's time to inspect the cabinet a little bit more. I have decided to strip the whole cabinet.
No! No! No!
And that means that this little decal is going to be coming off, but I can get a reproduction. There's just too many things to glue on here.
Yeah, right.
Although this front don't look too bad. There's a deep gouge here. Some missing veneer here. Flaking off here. Cabinet's loose here. So I decided to strip it because it's small and it's not going to take that long. Unlike a big floor model type, which is very awkward dragging in and out of the house. And notice the speaker grill cloth here has got a hole in it, so that's history. Let's take a look at this part here. Oops.
Huh?
Sorry about that.
Oh, brother!
We'll get a close shot of this. We're going to have to use some type of a wood filler, or grain filler to go inside here, because there's a lot of little cracks on here. Here's a crack here, and the whole thing is loose here.
How frustrating is that?
This is going to take a lot of work to get this thing looking the way I want it to look. Here's the inside of the cabinet, sans the poop. I'm going to take this grill cloth board off. I'm going to take the escutcheon off, and we'll take a closer look at those. There's a shot of the top there. Let's just see if we can get this off here. There we go.
Yuck! Gross!
There's no saving that cloth.
You're just a piece of trash!
I'm lucky that these aren't cracked or anything. Good shape here. See how this is separated here?
Oh my god, is it twins?
Same thing over here.
Well, don't just stand there. Go get some glue.
There's the dial escutcheon. I just noticed something here. This is not metal. This looks like Bakelite.
Wow.
That surprises me. A Bakelite escutcheon.
What's that? What did he say?
Well. Looks like there's a leftover piece of mouse poop there.
Gross! Keep that poop away from me!
Ew.
Look how sloppy they were with the stain and stuff back in those days, huh?
Might be crummy.
There's some glue blocks. First time I seen one that wasn't straight, it's at an angle here. Same over here. Old Buzz's crack research team has been working on a little segment here on Brendon, John from Arkansas's mentor. This took months and months of research, but we dug up enough information on Brendon, who's a very mysterious man. So let's just take a look at that, shall we?
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Brendon, the man, the myth, the legend. Some say Brendon, John from Arkansas's mentor, beloved and famous throughout the fruited plains of this great country, is as old as Methuselah. Some say he was born in the 20s. But let's set the record straight. Young Brendon came into this world in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in the year of our Lord 1944. One of the best kept secrets of the 20th century, but never proven, was that Brendon's mother was the daughter of brilliant physicist Albert Einstein, and that Brendon's father, the son of Nikola Tesla, famed inventor. Young Brendon was an inquisitive child and loved animals. Growing up, Brendon was a healthy, all-American boy. He liked baseball, Tarzan, turtles, girls, and cigarettes. But when little Brendon saw his first radio, it was love at first sight. With his bag of capacitors, Brendon would recap every radio he could get his hands on. At age 7, Brendon got his first job as a telegrapher, earning enough money to build his own ham radio. It wasn't long before Brendon was secretly broadcasting to his first girlfriend who lived down the block. He would entertain her by singing love songs just for her. By 1952, the family moved to Detroit, Michigan. A good student, Brendon was distracted by thoughts of radios, TVs, and of course girls. Here is a rare clip of Brendon, now a young man at Cooley High, with his girlfriend, Hillary Rodham.
I'd just like to tell you that if you'd still like me to go to the dance with you...
Gee.
Well, I could arrange it.
Well, you didn't break your date just for me, did you?
Why shouldn't I if I want to? After all...
Gosh, out of all the guys in this school...
Well, I've got to go now. We're having botany. I mean geography. I mean geometry. Bye.
Brendon loved music, especially Elvis. He even dressed like him. Here's a picture of Brendon and the group he formed, the Brentones. After high school, Brendon went to Lansing Community College and got his degree in electronics. Brendon became the youngest radio and television technician in Michigan. His first TV job was at Fezziwig's TV and radio repair. Here we see old Fezziwig teaching Brendon how to suck out the air and reseal the tube when it loses vacuum. But it wasn't long before Uncle Sam called, and he was drafted, and off came the sideburns and hair. He served in the 1st Army Medics stationed in Fort Knox. Brendon was an X-ray technician at the Ireland Army Hospital. It was during this time that Brendon became interested in wrestling. He was so good, he was the Fort Knox champion. After the service, Brendon went back to Fezziwig's radio and TV repair. On a routine service call, he met the love of his life, Wifey from Michigan. It was love at first sight. Money was tight in those early years of marriage, and Brendon, over the next 5 years, moonlighted as a masked wrestler called the Rectifier. With nagging injuries, the Rectifier retires from the ring, but becomes a legend in Detroit, for no one ever knew who he really was. Brendon also worked as a refrigeration technician and a master auto mechanic. Making a good living, but in his late 50s, Brendon needed something else. He always wanted to be a clown, so one day when the circus came to town, he auditioned and got a clown job. His name would be Brendo the Clown. Being on the road is hard on Brendo, and he misses Wifey. So after 1 year, Brendon calls it quits. The clip you're about to see is rumored to be Brendon playing Crinkles the Clown in a cereal commercial.
Breakfast! I'm hungry! Take it from Crinkles. That's me.
Is this Brendo the Clown? Sadly, we cannot attest to this, and we may never know. We catch up with Brendon, now in his late 60s and ready for retirement. Brendon is very well known in Michigan as a master electronics technician, master computer whiz, a mechanical genius, an HVAC and refrigerator contractor, and master automotive mechanic. He gets a phone call one day from an old girlfriend from Cooley High, Hillary Rodham, now Hillary Rodham Clinton. She asked if he could set up a server in her house for her job. Brendon says,
"Yes, I could, but I won't. That's not ethical. You could get into trouble for that. I will have no part of it."
And he hangs up on her. Nowadays, Brendon is retired but keeps busy as John from Arkansas's mentor. Quoting Brendon,
"John from Arkansas has come a long way since I started helping him, but sometimes I think John has mashed potatoes for brains."
Here is what Brendon looks like today. Some say he has taken up ventriloquism and plays comedy clubs on amateur night, but unfortunately that rumor cannot be confirmed. So now you know, Brendon, the man, the myth, the legend.
We're here to inspect the wiring and the switches.
Well, I thought I'd show you how this thing works. Originally, I was very confused, which is normal for me.
You got that right.
This is actually the power switch here.
No shit, Sherlock.
And I'm going to demonstrate it. Now watch it. When I turn it on, you see this thing will click, and that's in the on position. But if you keep turning it, this little piece here and this piece in here hits these two tabs here and shorts them to the ground here, and that turns on the short wave. So let me show you how that works.
What's it doing?
Okay, this is off. Here's on. Now watch as I turn it. Watch here and on the other side. There's not really a click, but there's a little indentation as it pushes these two in. So that turns on the short wave. On that first episode, you saw me fooling with this, and all of a sudden it came on. I think maybe it was in a position like this, and then I turned it, and it brought back the broadcast band, I think. I don't know. But to make matters even worse, you see this? Originally, I thought this was the on-off switch, because look. It's got points where you can add the power to it, but they're not used. So it's only used as a volume control. And that looks pretty original too. So I don't know what I've got here. They've got this, one of the ends here soldered right to the chassis. And that sure looks factory to me.
Me too.
Now where they would use a switch like that? is very confusing because that's going to confuse people, you know? They're trying to turn it on and, hey, it sounds like it's going on, but no, that's not connected. You got to turn it on here. So that's food for thought. And I'm getting hungry. It's almost lunch.
Lunch. Food. Where?
Okay, here's another thing that's different on this radio. I just told you the radio has a shortwave band. According to the dial scale on here, there isn't any. There should be some shortwave markings in the middle here. And as you can see, there's nothing there.
That's right, sir.
But if you go down here to see where this is held in here, somebody took some wire and wrapped it in there and tied it off.
Who did this?
This was replaced. I asked Ron Ramirez at the Filco forum what these were originally held in place by, and he said they were brass eyelets. So indeed, somebody has replaced this and put this one on. Now why they did that, who knows? Maybe the other one got cracked or something, and that's the only one they could come up with. I ordered a replacement one of these from Radio Days.
That's a good idea.
And it does have the markings for the shortwave in the middle. I'm about to show you the dial for the Philco 89. I got this from Radio Days, and it's a reproduction. Ta-da! Now, if you take a look at this one, in the middle here, it's got the shortwave band here, unlike the dial that's on it right now. It goes from 1.5 megahertz to 3.2.
Isn't that pretty? Oh!
Well, I finally got my parts. Been waiting for these over a week. Bought a lot of extras to replenish my stock. What I'm going to do here is going to tack these two electrolytics here, over here. So let me get that done, and we'll give it another test. Okay, let's turn it on.
Oh boy, now you're cooking with gas.
I'm noticing this is a little bit flaky sometimes. Gonna wiggle it to get some reception. There's the B+.
3/4 of the teachers, I think, and many of them are taking off, so the school district is closed down. As I said, if I were a principal or the head of a school district, I would say, let us bring in
I'm gonna play a song from the Little Rascals, and it's a couple of cute little girls singing about Jimmy had a nickel. Let's just play that and see what it sounds like on this old radio. This is from 1934.
For your political...
And my broadcaster is around 1550 here, so it's way down here. So let's see what we can get here.
Wasn't that cute?
It's so cute.
That's real smooth, Shrek.
So the radio is working. Don't pick up too good. Fix my strong station there. I just lost reception here. It's just a switch here.
Loved and adored by men, to be mothers, to enjoy motherhood, to be respected as mothers and women.
So that should do it for this week. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Now that I got my parts, I can start to get into the chassis here. So until next time, this is Buzz. Have a good one.
Goodbye, baby.
As a mother of two wonderful sons, that my husband and I are raising two men.
What's the big deal? I got a nickel too.